Secrets of the Journey, Volume 2 by Murdock. Chapter 1. Hear the voice of God daily before entering the presence of others. His voice is the only voice that truly matters. That is why listening to cassettes of the scriptures is so important. Every morning, without fail, keep them in your car, keep them beside your bed, keep them in your office. Encourage your entire family to absorb the Word of God daily on cassette. Nothing you could give another could surpass the Bible on cassette tape. His words are forever settled in heaven. When you wake up, everything else seems so necessary at first. Each phone call appears desperate and urgent. Every letter on your desk screams for attention. Everybody has a deserving request, but you will only find order when you make his presence your priority. Read Psalms 91. Nobody can talk to God for you. Nobody can know the voice of God for you. The psalmist knew this. O God, thou art my God. Early will I seek thee. My soul thirsteth for thee. My flesh longeth for thee in a dry and thirsty land, where no water is, to see thy power and thy glory, so as I have seen thee in the sanctuary. Psalms 63, 1 through 2. What you hear first often influences what you will speak next. A perfect day begins by hearing the voice of God. Hear his voice before you react to the needs of your own family. Do not misunderstand me. Your family is wonderful. They lean on you. They depend on you. But your words will not bless them and strengthen them unless you have heard from God yourself. You will not have the patience and endurance to handle any crisis that comes unless you hear the voice of God yourself. Hear his voice before the report of the doctor comes. God is your great physician. Hear his voice before others have had an opportunity to influence you. He alone knows the truth. Hear his voice, and the critical words of others will have little effect upon you. You see, his presence will reassure you. His words will calm you. Hear his voice, and flattering words of others cannot puff you up. Hear the voice of God, then you will not require the praise of others. His affirmation satisfies. Hear his voice, and your attitude will change instantly. You will not face the future with anger, torment, or fear. His words settle every issue. Time will prove him correct. Hear his voice before you return any phone calls to those in trouble. Then you will respond properly. Hear his voice before you answer any letters. Respond to his commands instead of the needs of people. Hear his voice before you listen to the voices of others. You must be led by the commands of God only, not their needs. Hear his voice before you listen to the complaints of others. His peace will keep you. Hear his voice before you hear the ideas of others. The ideas of men are not the commands of God. Hear his voice before hearing any request of others. You must qualify the soil before you give to someone. Your seed is precious. The seed of your time, love, or money deserves a screening process. Do not sow everything into everyone. Qualify the soil. Stony ground, thorny ground. It is so easy to be persuaded by people, wrong people. Hear his voice before you give to someone you do not really know. Oh, how I wish I could go back and change some of the seed sowing that I have done. I allowed the faces of people to affect my seed sowing. Some have cried crocodile tears, and I was affected. On more than one occasion, I have emptied my pockets to someone who was actually undeserving. Why? I had not been in his presence to hear his voice. Good seed deserves good soil. Hear his voice before sharing your dreams and discoveries with others. Their reactions will influence you. Hear his voice before you consult the reassurance of others. Pride can destroy you. Praise feeds pride. These 6 things doth the Lord hate. Yeah, 7 are on an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue. Proverbs 6:16 through 17. Praise is often excessive, cunning, and deceptive. It is used to manipulate us into a relationship of decision. Flattery is satanic. Hearing his voice protects you from these arrows that fly relentlessly toward your life. Hear his voice before making significant changes. One of the most powerful ministers in America told me of a major mistake in his ministry. I got tired of doing the same thing over and over in my ministry. I was bored. I decided to create some major changes. It was the worst mistake of my life. He explained, I lost thousands of partners unnecessarily simply because I wanted to do something differently. I rejoiced at thy word as one that findeth great spoil. Psalms 119, 162. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. Psalms 119, 165. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Isaiah 26, 3. You were never given the responsibility of merely planning your life. You were given the responsibility of discovering his plan for your life. Hearing his voice first each day is the golden key to daily success. It is one of the golden secrets of the journey.